Hey there, family. This is WNBA Talk, and I'm your host, Jay Irvin. I'm happy to be with you. You know, it's a lot going on in the WNBA right now. So many things, so many people moving from here to there, all over the place, but it's exciting for the league. Exciting for the league. I'm just waiting for this season to start, and I know you are too. And I want to share some of the things that's going on right now and all the player movements and what's going on and what people are saying and how people are feeling and where people are landed and all of that. Starting with, of course, we know we're into free agency and have been in there for a while, and people have just been moving around. And I think I think you're gonna be excited about it, and I know some people are hurt about it. Some people are glad about it, and some people are just I don't know, just some people are indifferent. And I'm one of those people. I'm feeling all of that. I'm excited about some things happening. I'm kind of wondering about why. Oh, this person went this way or this person went that way and stuff. But let's get into it. Let's see where some of the people have went and why people did what they did and I want to be able to share some information that's useful to you. I think you're going to be able to use a lot of information I'm sharing, and I'm basically going to give some of my own opinions too. Um, we all have opinions, and they don't quite agree with everybody else, and that's why it's your opinion. I just ask you to, if you want to comment and share your opinion when you get an opportunity and stuff. So I'm going to share my opinion and go from there. But starting with some of the movements and stuff, and in all of the movements that happen, they end up coming out with some people call super teams. And this is what happened. It started out with a major piece in the WNBA moving from Connecticut to New York, and that was Jonquel Jones, who moved from Connecticut to New York. That caused a buzz. That was a big thing because we're talking about one of the top players that's in the league moving from teams that perennially either got to the playoffs, got to the final game or got real close. And for the last 3 or 4 years, Connecticut has been on the top of the league. They're either in the finals or got a game before the finals and stuff. So Jonquel Jones moving from a team like that to a team that was to the at the bottom of the playoff or bottom of the league really boost that league. So now you put John Quayle with Sabrina Ionescu. But what happens after that? The next thing happens, I believe, is Candace Parker, who had won a championship in LA, then moved to her home in Chicago and ended up playing for the Chicago Sky and winning a championship the first year she was there. So she goes from Chicago to Las Vegas. So now you paired Candace Parker with Asia Wilson with Chelsea Gray, who she won a championship with in Los Angeles, with Kelsey Plum, with Jackie Young. Now we seem like we have a super team here. But what happens after that? Brianna Stewart, who everybody's waiting to see what she's going to do. She goes from Seattle, where she won championships at. She had Super Earth with her. She had other players with her. But she goes from Seattle to New York. Hold it. To New York. That's where John Quayle went. That's where Sabrina was. So now you got her, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu, and then what happens? Courtney Vandersloot comes over there. So now you got these two super teams, what people are saying, super teams on each coast saying we're guaranteed that they're going to be in the finals together. Well, I don't know that automatically means that they're going to be in the finals, but I do believe that it gives them a better opportunity to make it to the finals. I mean, because when you take somebody like a Candace Parker and you put her on a team that just won a championship and have a player like Asia Wilson on the team, who seems to be the humblest but a fierce competitor, I believe that you created a dominant team. Are the other teams going to lay down for them? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But then you take somebody like Brianna Stewart, who, in my opinion, just my opinion, I said I'm going to share some opinion with you. You have somebody like Brianna Stewart, who I consider the best player in the W, to go to New York and pair with a Jonquel Jones, a Sabrina Ionescu, and somebody who would handle that ball and pass it and do all kinds of things with it. Courtney Vandersloot, you got two teams that seems like they're going to battle it out. But let's see. Let's see if we're going to keep talking and talking about that subject and stuff and see if that really going to work out, because of other people have moved too. And I don't want to just talk about them moving and think that's it. We just forget about it. Let's just have them play the finals and that's end of the WNBA. No, the WNBA has doing a lot of exciting things this free agency, because a lot of people have moved around. And I want to talk about some of those people who have moved around. I've already shared with you that we had people moving over to the Aces with Candace Parker. Also, Alicia Clark went from Washington over to the Aces. That's going to help the Aces tremendously. Kayla George, she came, and now that's a 3-point shooter right there. She came, and now she's with the Aces. Also, Sydney Colson, who's always been hovering around the Aces. That's the way I put it. She's been hovering around the Aces anyway, so she's there. Of course, we know Raquana Williams. She's a spark plug. She's a spark plug and stuff. Now, when you come to looking at New York, of course, I mentioned Sabrina and Jonquel and Brianna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot. They also got Epiphany Prince from Seattle moved over there, and Kayla Thornton from Dallas. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later, how she got there, and Benaja Laney and Stephanie Dolson. Marina Johannes, she is always to me X factor. That young lady is just incredible. That's my opinion. You may agree with it, you may not agree with it. So, um, but some of the other things that's happened, and I don't just want to talk about those teams, but I want to talk about a few other teams. Probably talk about all the teams in the league, but share some information about who's on their team and some of the player movement that's been going on. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the Dallas Wings. The reason why, because they uh, lost some people and gained some people and done some interesting things. Now, when it comes to a team, the first person you have to bring up is Arike Agumbawale, who was an All-Star MVP of the All-Star game last year. Incredible scoring threat. Basically, I believe she said nobody could hold her. I hope I'm not misquoting her. Then you have Satu Sabali, and a person they got last year, which I really liked that they got, was Sierra McCowan. This year, who did they add? Who they add this year? They added a WNBA champion and Natasha Howard, and they got her via trade from New York. Along with her in that trade came Crystal Dangerfield, which is awesome. Now, both of them are signed, so we got them all signed and locked up. And then they also picked up Diamond DeShields, who also won a championship. I think that's going to really help. Going along with another first year player last year was Veronica Burton. Uh, that young lady can play some defense. You better watch the ball when you're dribbling by her or close to her, because she's going to steal it. So that was a good pickup, good draft choice last year. And a Watt Careers on that team, Charlie Collier, Another person they got on a training contract is Kalani Brown. Um, I don't know if she's going to make it past that training contract, but one thing I do know, she's going to help get Tierra McCowan ready because they're both 6'7". Um, she's a little bit heavier than Tierra, so that should help Tierra get ready and stuff. And maybe she'll find a way to make the team, but we'll see. But if she does, it'll be 2 6 7 players on the Dallas Wings team. The other team I want to mention is the Phoenix Mercury. Of course, we still have the age-old favorite in Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner. So glad that she got released from that detainment in Russia and stuff. Hate she had to go through that, but I'm glad she's back. She seems healthy. She seems, excited to be back. I think I saw her at the Super Bowl with her wife and a few other places, and she seems happy and stuff. Another player, which is a spark plug for that team, is Skylar Diggins Smith. I think she's pregnant, so I'm not quite sure what her status is about playing this year. But of course, she's a dynamic player. To me, she's the best player on that team. Um, Deanna's kind of getting banged up and getting older. She's in her, I think is she 40? I don't know. I don't want to age her and stuff, but she's um, uh, I know she's up there in age and stuff, so I don't know how long she plans on playing. She's trying to match Tom Brady and be a play until she's 45 and 46. But right now she's coming back this year. She's ready to play. One of the things that we know, I heard about her, she's not willing to take any less to help the team kind of bring the people they need in. That's what I'm hearing. You know, I understand every person can do what they want to do. Another person on the team, Sophie Cunningham. Of course, she can shoot that three. They got her signed up, and in a trade with New York, they end up getting Michaela Onyenwere. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name right. I hear different announcers pronounce her name different ways, and sometimes they pronounce it. It sounds like it's a D in the end, but I don't see a D in her name, so I'm gonna say Were at the end, and maybe I hope that's right. And then they picked up, oh, well, I think just yesterday, they picked up Mariah Jefferson and signed her to I think a 2 or 3 year deal. She played with Minnesota last year and really helped the team out, it seemed, last year. But Phoenix needs some help. They need to get somebody in there that can fit in there and stuff. And I guess Mariah Jefferson fits in there. I know she's a good player and stuff. Playing for Minnesota kind of proved that. And she was good with the Wings. I like what she did with the Wings when she was with the Wings. Um, Other team I want to mention. There's a reason why I mentioned some of these teams. Of course, I mentioned New York and the Aces because of super team. Dallas, Phoenix, and uh, uh, New York, and I'm going to mention Chicago because a certain thing happened between these teams that kind of have a lot of people up in the air. And the last team is Chicago. Of course, they have Kalia Copper. I guess she's going to be that focal point for the team and build around her because they did lead. They did lose, like we mentioned. They lost Candace Parker. They lost Courtney Vandersloot, uh, two strong players for their team. Um, but they picked up Courtney Williams from Connecticut. And then they picked up in a trade Marina Mabry from the Dallas Wings. And we're going to dig into that, her movement, and all of that in a little while. But before we do that, I'll say picked up Isabel Harrison from the Dallas Wings. They still have Emma Mieseman, and of course, they picked up through free agency Elizabeth Williams. Julie Alamon just today, or it was yesterday, she decided to opt out this season, so she won't be playing in the W this year. So that kind of frees up some space for somebody else. Of course, they have Dana Evans from Gary, Indiana. and Rebecca Gardner, which is a good player. Ruthie Hebert, a Stu. Those some of the players they got. Um, so of course, uh, what I want to go through next is really kind of a list of player movement. So you're probably wondering, where's my favorite player and stuff? Where'd they go to, and who is this new player on my team, and how did they get on the team? And I may not go deep into how they got on the team and stuff, but I'll let you know right now where they are currently. Who the players on the team currently. Not all of the WNBA, because we're talking about 144 players, but I'm talking about some of the players who've made movement this year. They may have moved on your team or they may have moved off of your team. I'm going to share who they are, just by name, and so you can know where they are, and so you can kind of form in your head if that team's going to be formidable, or you just form your head. I like that they let this person go, or I didn't like the fact they let this player go. I wish they would have left my team alone. All of that type stuff. So here's a list of the players. I already mentioned, to me, the biggest movement, and I think everybody agrees the biggest movement was Breanna Stewart moving from Seattle, going to the New York Liberty. Candace Parker going from Chicago to Las Vegas. That was a big move. I'm going to talk about why some of these players made that move, and she's one person I'm going to talk about when it comes to why I believe she made that move. Jonquel Jones. That's something I didn't see. I think it's some more people who know a lot more about the WNBA that are in their head, that they know the reason why that happened, and they knew ahead of time. They probably rubbed their a magic ball or something like that, or they said they had a cousin that was a janitor at the facility, and they were hearing that she was going to. I don't know, but she moved from Connecticut to the New York Liberty. Alicia Gray. I gotta stop. I gotta stop because Alicia Gray, I was just going to let you know. So you like, yeah, if I feel slanted, I talk a little bit more about this team than any other team, not intentionally, but it's part of this something that happened, and that was. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but right now I'm going to talk about Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray is my favorite player in the WNBA. Out of all players in the WNBA, Alicia Gray is my favorite player. But then she's on, I'll let you know, my favorite team, or my home team, is the Dallas Wings. So for her to be on the Dallas Wings, and the Wings being my team, I was in WNBA heaven. I had my player that I really loved. I loved her in college, and I loved her playing for South Carolina. I know she played for North Carolina before she moved to South Carolina and won a championship in South Carolina. I loved her in the Wings. She was the player for me. Um, for her to move from Dallas, she actually got traded from Dallas to Atlanta for some draft picks. I hated that, but I know how business is, and that was a business move. I'll talk a little bit more why I think it happened a little bit later. It's one of those things that I'm one of those people who never believed in buying a player's jersey. One, because of the cost of it, and other because players move, and I never did until last year. Last year, I decided my favorite sport is WNBA. I mean, when people would ask me what's your favorite football team, I would tell them the Dallas Wings. They ask me which my favorite baseball team, I tell them the Dallas Wings. What's your favorite hockey team? I tell them the Dallas Wings, because I'm just so in love with the WNBA, and my team is the Dallas Wings. So every answer to any sports question about team was the Dallas Wings, and talking about the WNBA. I love talking about the WNBA and understanding what's going on with them. But back to the fact that when it came to her being my favorite player, and I finally bought a jersey. Whose jersey did I buy? Of course, number 15, Alicia Gray. Only jersey I have ever bought for any professional team in my life. Alicia Gray. And then what happens this year? She gets traded. I'm hurt, but I'm understanding. I understand how business works. And I understand I don't have anything against her. I don't have anything against the Dallas Wings organization. I think that's, hey, well, you got to do what's best. And that was the best for the team. And the trade, I believe, was best for her. So uh, but it did cause a little hurt for me because I liked her on my team. I'm still gonna follow her and see what's going on with her because I like her as a player. I think she's an incredible person. Um, the other person, Alicia Clark, she went to the Aces. That's gonna help the Aces. That's gonna help that super team. Marina Mabry. I'm going to talk to about her a little bit more in depth a little bit later when I talk about that one thing that happened that kind of got some teams fans all riled up. Okay. Isabel Harrison. We also lost on the wing. She went to Chicago. Taisha Harris. I love her. I think maybe it's something about the South Carolina players and stuff. But we had Alicia Gray and Taisha Harris on the same team together, and they both get traded the same year away from the team. Okay, so we officially got rid of all of our South Carolina players on the team because at one point in time, I know we had at least two more, Kayla Davis, and there's one more we had that was from South Carolina that's gone. So all of our South Carolina players are gone. I'm not saying the Wings have something against the South Carolina players. It's just they happen to be on the team, played together, and now they're gone. Mariah Jefferson, I kind of mentioned. I mentioned Taisha Harris. She went to Connecticut to the Sun. Um, Mariah Jefferson, again, I mentioned her earlier. She went from Minnesota to Phoenix. Michaela Onyenwere, she went from New York to Phoenix. Danielle Robinson, of course, went from Indiana to Atlanta. Ileana Rupert, she went to Atlanta. Elizabeth Williams as a free agent, she went from Atlanta to Chicago. Rebecca Allen from New York to Connecticut, along with Tiffany Hayes from Atlanta to Connecticut, and Joyner Holmes from New York to Connecticut. So those are some players that made some move. A few more players that made some move was Olivia Nelson Adota, went from Los Angeles to Connecticut. Erica Wheeler went from Atlanta to Indiana. Epiphany Prince went from Seattle to New York. That's going to help them. That's some more veteran leadership there. Somebody else who played with Brianna Stewart. That's going to help her. Somebody she used to being around. Kayla Thornton went from Dallas to New York. That was a trade. I mentioned Courtney Vandersloot. She went from Chicago to New York. Brittany Sykes. Why am I hesitating on Brittany Sykes? The reason I'm hesitating on Brittany Sykes, I don't know if you know, but when Alicia Gray won Rookie of the Year, Brittany Sykes came in second. They were battling that whole time for a rookie year, and it came out to be Alicia Gray. One thing about Brittany Sykes, we know she's athletic. She is athletic. She got the moves. She played in Los Angeles with the new coach of the Dallas Wings. So I'm thinking, man, here's an opportunity. Since we lost Alicia Gray, let's get Brittany Sykes. We talked about somebody can actually get that ball to the hoop. And nope, we missed out on that. I don't know how we missed out on that. Is it that she didn't want to play with the coach? Or is it that she just felt better about what Washington was doing? Whatever it was, we missed Brittany Sykes, which I didn't like, but she's with Washington, along with Amanda Zowie B, who's in Washington. Crystal Dangerfield, she came to Dallas from New York, along with Natasha Howard. Man, when I saw that we got Natasha Howard, that Dallas got Natasha Howard, I was happy. I said, okay, we got somebody to kind of help bring stuff. I guess what you're saying, you're starting to bring in that veteran presence that the Wings kind of lacked. And a lot of the fans were kind of complaining about that the Wings keep building with these rookies. We need to get some veteran presence in there. As soon as, of course, as soon as we get a little veteran presence in there from her, you got some fans complaining about her being too old. I'm like, come on, come on. You can't have both. And you're talking about somebody who's won a WNBA championship, somebody that can play. All we need Natasha Howard to do is stay healthy and play her game. And she's going to give us what we need. Uh, Diamond DeShields. She's come from Phoenix to Dallas. That's awesome. I've always loved Diamond DeShields. I hate all that she had to go through. I'm glad that she was able to make it through her health issues. Um, yes, Skyler was I believe the best player on Phoenix last year, but Diamond DeShields played some ball last year. We end up getting Diamond DeShields. Um, Also, De'Erica Hamby went from Las Vegas to LA. Ezra Stevens went from Chicago to LA, along with Jasmine Thomas went from Connecticut to LA. So they kind of build some things around the sisters. Um, they have a new coach, of course, and Kurt Miller, who came from Connecticut, that went to L.A. I didn't know about his connection with L.A. in the past. Something I never dug into, but found that out that he used to have some connection with the L.A. Sparks before. Jasmine Thomas, um, from Connecticut to LA. I think I mentioned that. Well, he coached Jasmine in Connecticut. So they basically went over there together. Christy Tolliver went from LA back to Washington. She started in Washington, won a championship, went to LA, and now she's going back to Washington. Tiffany Mitchell, a surprise to me. I didn't see that. I didn't see her actually going from Indiana anywhere. I thought she would be with Indiana, but she actually went from Indiana to Minnesota. Kia Nurse from Phoenix to Seattle. Teresa Plaisance, which I loved her. I actually had an opportunity to meet her and in a restaurant one day. In fact, it was a game where uh, the Seattle Storm came down and played the Dallas Wings, and I was at a restaurant with my brother and my nephew, and the whole Seattle team, along with Teresa Plaisance, came in the restaurant. And Teresa came to the table and stopped and talked to us. Uh, Sue Bird was there. I mean, the whole team, everybody was there. I don't think Breonna Stewart wasn't there, but I know Sue Bird came in and a lot of the players from the Seattle team. But Teresa came to our table and stood there and talked. When she found out we're W fans, or found out I'm a W fan, my brothers kind of tagged along. My nephew kind of tagged along. He liked the fact that Natasha Howard was there, and he liked Natasha Howard. That was his favorite player in the W. And it's interesting. The first person I text when found out that the Wings got Natasha Howard was my nephew, and let him know, hey, that she's on the Wings now. And one of my favorite players, my brother's favorite player was Diamond DeShields, and now he was the first person I told that Diamond's on the Wings. But just to move forward, Sammy Whitcomb, she did one of those move back things. She was with Seattle, went to New York, and now she's back with Seattle and stuff. Some of the players that was kind of out of the league for a minute or two, or kind of halfway last year, was Lauren Cox. Lauren Cox, she got picked up by Connecticut. Maya Caldwell, I believe she got picked up by Indiana. Evina Westbrook picked up by Washington. Kalani Brown is on a training contract with the Wings. And Sydney Colson, who always seemed to be hanging around that Aces team, she's back with the Aces. So that's some of the players that move. So if you looking where they at, I just gave you a list of where they at. Kind of really don't need to know where they came. Oh yeah, I mean, if they were on your team, you want to know that they no longer on your team, and they went someplace else. So some of the things that fans have been going crazy about, of course, is players that have been traded off their team, or not necessarily traded off their team, but they were in free agency and they decided to go someplace else. Um, I want to talk about the one that seemed the craziest, that made so many fans crazy, and that was that four-team trade between Dallas, New York, Phoenix, and Chicago. That seemed to make so many fans lose their mind up in here, up in here. I mean, like, come on, guys, calm down. It'll be all right. You still have a team, and they're still in the W. You can still go watch them play. You just have different players in your team, and I think all the athletes in the WNBA are exceptional. WNBA is the best league in the world when it comes to women's basketball. So this is that trade. And I can understand how some people feel a certain way, but I'm just going to talk about these four teams. And starting out with Chicago. Chicago in the trade got Marina Mabrey. Now hold it. Marina Mabrey's not no slouch. Marina Mabrey was a fan favorite in Dallas. But I'm gonna talk about she's a spark plug, feisty. I'm talking about she's not backing down from nobody. I don't care who you are, she's not backing down from nobody. She gonna shoot that three in your face and turn and look at you like you're crazy. She gonna take you to the hoop and drop you off. She gonna do everything she can and then get up and say what, because she don't play. That girl is a fire plug. So Chicago picking her up after losing the people they lose is a big add to them. But what drove the Chicago fans crazy was what they gave away to get her. Okay? What they gave away to get her. So first, let me tell you what Chicago got. Chicago got Marina Mabrey, the 2024 second round pick from Phoenix. Okay? Dallas, now I've said, I already said Dallas is my team, is my favorite team. I might lean their way a little bit, but I don't think I'm leaning their way on this. We'll see. You whatever your opinion about what I say, that you can share with me and say, hey, yeah, you really were leaning that way. But this is what I'm saying. This is what Dallas got out of the deal. Dallas got Diamond DeShields from Phoenix. From Chicago, they got Chicago's number 5 pick from Chicago. In 2024, they got their first round pick, and in 2025, a first round pick. With the opportunity to switch with Chicago depending on who has a better record. So if Chicago got a higher pick, Dallas can say Chicago got the second pick in the draft, and Dallas got the ninth pick in the draft. Dallas can come and say, we want the second pick, you take the ninth pick. So Dallas again got Diamond DeShields, a first round pick, which is number 5 pick, a first round pick in 2024, and a first round pick in 2025, and a number 5 pick this year. New York got the rights to Leonie Kubac in 2024, second round pick, and in 2025, a first round pick. Phoenix got Michaela Onyenwere, 2024 third round pick, and 2025 second round pick. Now, again, I said Dallas got the best out of that. But that depends on who you talk to if you're talking to a Dallas fan. Because Marina was so much of a fan favorite that the Dallas people like, we don't care what you got, what you giving us. We want Marina. I don't think some Dallas fans would have even accepted if they would have did a one-on-one swap for Brianna Stewart. They would still want Marina, not understanding, in my opinion, again, Brianna Stewart's the best player in the league. But Dallas fans was like, oh, they tearing up the team. Now, this was all after they lost. They lost Alicia Gray. They lost Isabel Harrison. They lost Taisha Harris. And then here comes them losing Marina. Because what happened was when all that was happening, um, losing, those players, nobody heard word of what's happening with Marina. Everybody, you would always see, I have a WNBA Talk on on Facebook. You can go and join if you want to, great. But I have that. And the people in there, they would, the people in there, they would be like, hold it. You know, Marina, they would be in there. Okay. So, excuse me for that. That's all right. We're going to keep going. Um, they would be in there and say, well, how could you give up Marina after everything she's done for us? You gave away all those players, so you're destroying our team. You're destroying our team. You're you got rid of our coach. You got rid of, Taisha, which we love. You got rid of Alicia. We got rid of, Isabel, and now you're gonna give away Marina. That was the only thing that's holding us together. We much rather you gave away Enrique. We much rather we don't like the fact you brought in Taisha. No, Tierra, my fault, Tierra and stuff like that. You stopped letting Isabel play last year when you bought Tierra McCowan in. It's just, I'm like, just all kind of crazy, And I'm like, I hear what you're saying. I said, but I look at it like this, and maybe I'm wrong for looking at it like this. We still only won 18 games. In essence, what I'm saying is we need to be doing something to improve. That's going to mean we're going to have to lose some people. That's why when Alicia ended up having to be traded away, I know it's some reasons why, professionally basketball reasons why, and then business reasons why. And, I'll talk about the business reasons why about Alicia, but they got so upset. And I was like, I don't understand. Y'all not understanding that it's other players in the league that have skills, and we can use those skills. So when you gave up Marina Mabry, you got Diamond DeShields. Not only did you get Diamond DeShields, but you got the number 5 pick for this year and a first round pick for next year and a first round pick for the next year after that. But then if you stop and check the stats of those two players, Marina Mabry and Diamond DeShields, they're pretty close to each other. What's the difference? Diamond can play better defense. Diamond's a little more athletic. Diamond can get to that hoop. She can get down the court quicker. She's faster. I said, and she can shoot the three. I said, so what made me feel all right about it is I like Diamond. I love Marina, but we got those draft picks. Ooh, excuse me. We got those draft picks. We got the number 5 draft pick and 2 first round draft picks in consecutive years. To me, that was a no brainer. You got to do that. You got to do that. Now, back to Chicago. Chicago, I think I mentioned it. Chicago, I don't understand why they gave up so much. They got Marina. Yeah, she's good, but they gave up those draft picks, which I was like, okay. So I understand why they fans, you know, but the other fans that I thought was really got crazy when I looked over my WNBA Talk on my Facebook page, uh, Facebook group, was Phoenix. They were like, y'all got to be crazy to give up Diamond the Shield. And I seen some things posted on there. They were ready to string up the GM from that team. They're like, y'all got a weak coach. They everything. They start coming out about Diana Taurasi because she didn't want to she didn't she said she wasn't going to take a pay cut. Well, I understand, and that's what I heard, that she wasn't willing to take a pay cut to make room. So some people was mad at her, and there was some people probably know more about what's going on with her than I do. But they were saying that she should have went on retired, and so we could have kept Diamond, and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, well, I understand, but they were you talking about hot. The ones I didn't hear a lot from was the New York fans, and I was like, yeah, all they lost was Michaela Onwere. And I'm not saying it's like she's a scrub or anything. She's really up and coming. But what they added to the team was, they wasn't going to be distracted by losing her, because they just picked up the best player in the league in Breanna Stewart, and then they got one of the most successful point guards in the league in Courtney Vandersloot, and then just to top it all, well, I guess I should say Jonquel Jones first, but they got Jonquel Jones and Breanna Stewart on the same team, and then you added Courtney Vandersloot. Hey, okay, yeah. In fact, when you look at their team, I think, and I'm going to talk about this later about roster size, they got to trim some people off their team. But the other um, I mentioned, yeah, Chicago, Dallas, New York, Phoenix fans, they were going crazy. Specifically, the Phoenix fans and the Dallas fans and Chicago fans, New York fans, they were, yeah, okay, whatever y'all doing, we don't care. Um, but I understand Chicago fans because they lost, of course, Candace. They lost Candace and Courtney Vandersloot, Ezra Stevens. Uh, I think that's it. I think if I can remember that's it. But I mean, it's not like that's it. Those are major players that they lost. Um, but to talk about, I want to kind of shift and kind of talk about why some of those players um, made the move. Oh, well, yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. But understand something. I believe one of the reasons why it seemed the reason why some of those uh, fans were mad has to when I kind of figured it out, I realized it's they seem to be mad when the teams made the trade. Um, it's like when some players were you had some players move because of free agency, some players move because of the trade. Okay, when I say that, um, the ones that moved because of free agency was, of course, Breanna Stewart, uh, Candace Parker, Courtney Vandersloot, um, the old free agent. Oh, Jonquel Jones. But the ones that moved via trade was Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray moved because of trade. And when she got traded, Wings fans they were upset that she got traded. But if you stop and think, why did she get traded? Well, one reason is it's a business, but also is company business, Wings, personal business, Alicia Gray. When I say that, why would Alicia Gray want to leave this team that she was drafted by? I mean, wouldn't you want to show loyalty to the team that drafted you? They brought you into the league. Well, if the Wings didn't pick her, somebody else is gonna pick her. But just say for kicks and grin, they introduced her to the WNBA. She won Rookie of the Year here. She did a lot of things. I loved her as an Olympian. Did the 3x3 uh, and all of that. Uh, but understand something about Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray from Georgia. What team did she get traded to? Atlanta. So this gives her, on a personal reason, this gives her an opportunity to play closer to her home, closer to her friends and family. So now when I want to see my friends and family, I don't have that far to go. I'm right there with you. So when my family want to see me play, they don't have that far to go. If they wanted to see me play now, they would have to go from Georgia and come to Texas. Now I'm in the same state. And she's not that far away from where she played ball at. She played ball at South Carolina and North Carolina. So she's close to that. That's where she won her championship at South Carolina. So that, for a personal reason, that puts her closer. Now, why am I mentioning that? Because she mentioned that, she wanted to get traded. She wanted to get traded. So why would the Wings just allow her to leave? Why would they trade her just because she says she want to get traded? Well, the Wings are in an interesting position, and that is this. They could have said, no, we're not going to trade you. We're going to make you play another year here. But she only had one more year on her contract. That would put her into free agency. So next year, she could have went wherever she wanted to go, because there's teams out there that would pick her up. And, of course, Atlanta would have picked her up. So she could have went to Atlanta on her own. And if she would have went as a free agency, Dallas would get nothing in return. So they would have lost her next year to free agency and got nothing for her. So the best thing for Dallas from a business end is to trade her and get something for her. So they trade her and get the third pick in the draft. And some more picks, but that was important to get something for her. And this is relatively going to be an all right draft. Not like that draft when they picked up Charlie Collier and a Walk Queer and stuff like. No, Walk is good. I do have an issue with Charlie, but hey, that's all right. That's all right. As she keeps working, she's going to get better. She's getting better. Just right now, I just want her to keep putting in that work. And I'm talking about Charlie. But that's the reason why. So why would Breanna Stewart go from Seattle to New York? Yeah, Breanna's from New York. That's where her family is. Stuff like that. What's another reason? Because Seattle's team no longer has Sue Bird. Seattle's team it's in a rebuilding mode. So she can go from that situation to now she gets to play with Sabrina Ionescu. Now I got a young point guard or a young guard general. I don't care if you call it a point shooting guard. I got a young guard out there. I also have Jonquel Jones on the team. I also have I think is just their secret weapon, Maureen Johannes. Oh my goodness, that girl can play some ball. So now you have her on the team. And I'm like, but Stephanie Dolson, I mean, you have a much better team. You go from that team barely making a playoff, which they did last year, last game of the season. That's the only way they made it in. I think some other team had to help them in and stuff like that. To being what people are considering super team, hey, I gotta do that. I gotta do that. So she goes back to my home state. I could be around my family, be around my friends. People are close, so I can do that. And then I also get in a position where I can put myself in a better position to win another championship. She's closer to winning a championship in New York because of the people that's there versus winning another championship in Seattle. So, of course, that makes sense. Candace Parker, hey, why? I mean, they talked about the connection she's had with, I think is Nikki Vargas or whatever her name is. I think she was assistant coach in Tennessee, helped recruit her to Tennessee, help, I think she's a godmother of her one of her children. I don't know if it's her oldest child or younger, but she has some connection with her personally and also professionally, basketball, be it college ball or whatever. So hey, she got the connection. Other connection, I think the number one reason it puts her closer to Los Angeles, where her daughter is, so she could, spend more time with her. I think somebody said, she said her main focus was spending more time with her daughter, her oldest daughter, or oldest child. Let me say that. Okay, and so that was another reason. But down the line, you got to think, what, she's 36, 36, 37, somewhere out there. How much longer she gonna play? I don't think she's gonna do the Diana Taurasi thing and play into her 40s. Um, but I don't believe she's gonna play much longer. Actuality, in my opinion, I think this is her last year. Who gives her a chance to win another championship before she go out? Well, why not jump on the defending champions team and get to play with Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, who I won a championship in LA with, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, Ricardo Williams. I'm talking about you get to go and let them do their thing and just be that glue, that other coach on the bench, on the court, talking in their ear about how to get it done. I think it will be less of a struggle. My thing about that is when you talk about those teams, again, here's one of my opinions. I think about when you think about New York and the Aces, and people say that those two gonna come together, they're gonna determine the championship, they're gonna be in the finals and stuff. I think, my opinion, when you look at the two teams, I think New York has a better team. But that's my opinion. But she is in a better position being in Las Vegas than she did being in Chicago. Because Chicago, when they lost last year, that was it. She knew it. So he's like, okay, let me rethink what I'm doing. And hey, she came out guns blazing. I'm going to Las Vegas. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her. So uh, you can't blame the coaches, the team, the general manager for Alicia Gray being traded. Nothing that Seattle could have done when it came to Breanna Stewart. She's a free agent. She had a choice to go where she wants to. They could promise her the moon, but New York can promise her the moon too. And New York's her home. Candace, same thing. She has a personal thing going on that was being closer to her daughter. And then who's gonna put me in a better position to win a championship? The Aces. So you can't blame them for that. So when people get upset, um, can't. I do think, the ones that seem the most upset is when the trades got involved. Chicago got upset because Chicago gave up so much for Marina Mabry. Phoenix got upset because they let Diamond DeShields go away. They traded Diamond DeShields away. That's where your upset come from. Um, New York, like I say, they didn't care what you did. Dallas Dallas got upset again. You know, that one right there. Um, I think was a good trade. I think that uh, I think the way the reason why that happened is um, I know they complained. The Chicago people complained about Wade being the GM and the coach, and him having all that power to do that. But I think that's a good thing if you coach and you know what players fit into your scheme better. I don't think it's just the GM to make that decision because I think when it comes in Dallas's situation, that their new coach probably has something to say with the players she wanted around them. I know the management probably say, well, certain players we're not getting rid of, and that's we're not getting rid of Enrique. I don't think would want to get rid of Enrique anyway, but again, there's some players that they not get wasn't getting rid of Enrique. Tierra McCowan wasn't getting rid of her. Veronica Burton wasn't getting rid of her. Um, maybe a walk. Satu Sabli wasn't getting rid of her, you know. Um, but when it came to re-signing people, letting people go and re-signing people, when they signed Tierra, when they signed Crystal Dangerfield, when they signed uh, those players, everybody was wondering, well, what's going on with Marina? What's going on with Marina, and when they gonna sign it, when they gonna sign it. We knew something was up. They was taking so long. The next thing you know, you had this. The first news came out was just Marina's going, getting traded away, and we getting Diamond the Shield. Then a couple of days later, then they blam. Here's the 4-team trade and stuff, and then once you looked at everything, you like, hey, that was a good thing. Yes, you gave up a fire plug, somebody who's not gonna back down, somebody gonna drop a three in your face, gonna run you down the lane, gonna do all kinds of stuff, and that makes the fans excited and stuff, and also help win games and just pull that team together when the team was uh, in low points. Marina wouldn't let him fall into a slump. Also, Kayla Thornton wouldn't let him fall into a slump. She gonna play her heart out all the time anyway. Hate losing Kayla Thornton because she was a fire plug too. But again, Marina was at one. So fans didn't hated losing that. But you know, in the thing, again, you got Diamond the Shield. Same stats, real close, and I kind of mentioned that. But she's more athletic. She can shoot the three like Marina, but she plays better defense and she's faster. But that's not all they got. They got number 5 draft pick and 2 first rounds of consecutive years. So 3 first round in 3 years, but one of them being the number 5 draft pick. So I'm like, hey, you got to go for it. You got to go for it. So with that, I just want to kind of switch and talk a little bit about. Uh, Wish I could, I'm not asking you. I'm just throwing this out there. You can make comments to it. Disagree with some of the things I say. That's all right. But one of the things is. When you look at your team, I wonder what you think about your team, what they put together and stuff. And the reason I'm saying that because I'm gonna talk about something that the Wings did that I like. I have to give it to them, And in that deal, they got those draft picks. But the draft pick I want to talk about most is in the 2 trades what they end up with. In the trade for Alicia, they got the number 3 pick, and in the trade for Marina, they got the number 5 pick. Now, some people keep complaining, or some Wings fans complain that they keep getting these picks. They get picks and don't know what to do with them and stuff. And they make those statements, and sometimes they have to retract. I had somebody explain to one fan um, about their previous picks. Now, I don't want to put this person down. I already kind of let you know how I feel about it. But one year, remember when the Wings had the number one and the number two picks in the draft? Who came out in the draft? Who got picked number one? Charlie Collier. Now, again, she has to work to get better. And she's all right as long as she puts in the effort. Because she goes overseas and have good numbers. But she has to come back to the W in the Wings and make sure what I say is play, practice your way onto the court. People kept complaining that she didn't make it on. They won't play her. They won't play her. I simply say, what is she doing in practice? You practice. I believe you practice your way onto the court. Okay, but what I'm leading to is they got so in that draft when they got a couple of years ago, number one, number two, they got Charlie Collier and a Queer. Queer apparently played her way onto the court, even though she was a second pick. She played a lot more than Charlie. Charlie sat. Now, mind you, her first year, she played the first 8 games. And then after that, things started going down. A Walk played her one in the court and kept getting minutes. Okay, but let's talk about those draft picks in the past, and people try to point at the Wings, saying, "Look what they did! Look at the draft pick." I said, "But who else was in that draft class? Who won the Rookie of the Year was, I think, Michaela Onyenwere. Hey, she got drafted what, 8th or 9th or something like that, I believe. But my thing is this: this is different. This draft class is different. So if I'm looking at the draft, this is what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. Indiana has the first pick, right? It would be crazy on Indiana's part if they didn't pick Aaliyah Boston. The only way they uh, can't pick Aaliyah Boston if she decides to play another year, which she has an option to do that. But if she comes out and declares for the draft, Indiana, Aaliyah Boston. That's gonna be an awesome ad for Indiana. They got that young team. I don't know if they're gonna win any more games than they did last year with Aaliyah Boston, but I guarantee they're gonna start going on the up and up. As long as they coach, as long as they have a good coach, it's gonna push them in the right direction. Next player is gonna be pick is gonna be, and I don't know why I keep forgetting this young lady's name. Is incredible that I keep forgetting her name. But the young lady from Stanford with all the hair going back and stuff like that. She's going to be the number 2 pick. Number 3 pick is Dallas's. Dallas is going to pick. If they don't, I'll be surprised. It's going to be Diamond Miller. We're going to get some firepower. Diamond Miller will be the number 3 pick. And the only way Diamond Miller is not the number 3 pick is whoever has a second pick, which for some reason, I can't think of who has that second pick, will take Diamond Miller. If they do, then the Wings will take the young lady from Stanford. After that, the next person probably going to get picked is Ashley Jones. The number 5 pick again from this year, they got that pick. The number 3 pick they got from Atlanta. The number 5 pick they got from Chicago. They're going to pick Jordan Horston. She's going to come in there, and you talking about one of the reasons I wanted the Wings to get Brittany Sykes, because she would bring in that help with defense. But Jordan Horston is going to come in there and help Veronica Burton with defense. Because we have a defensive, new coach is defensive minded. She's going to pick Jordan Horston to help with the defense. And that's going to be much needed. That's where Marina's lacked defense. That's what Diamond DeShields helps with defense. Number 5 pick, Jordan Horston will help with defense. So those trades Losing Alicia, losing Marina is going to shore up our defense. Now, mind you, Alicia locked down defense, but the situation wasn't we wanted to get rid of Alicia. Alicia wanted to leave, and we need to get some value for her while we can't get value for her. So since we lost her, we got to bring some defense in. Diamond DeShields coming in, Jordan Hurston, Veronica Burton. That young lady is locked down. If you dribbling the ball by her, you better watch out because she gonna pick your pocket. She's gonna make you throw some bad passes. She's gonna play defense, defense, defense. So Veronica's incredible. All Veronica needs to do is increase her shooting efficiency. But she's gonna be on the court. Because last year she was on the court, even though she was sometimes, she would pass up shots, wouldn't shoot the shot, would miss the shot, but they kept putting on the floor because of defense. And that's what they're gonna do this year. But what she should be doing now in her backyard or in somebody's gym is going to the gym, find a shot. But we saw her improve from the beginning of the year to the end of the year when it came to her shooting. Because she started shooting 3-pointers. We're like, okay, hold it. We got something here. So we improve offense on her part, then also. But again, my thing is, in no draft picks, we're going to end up with Diamond Miller and Jordan Horston, and the Wings are going to be a much improved team. I don't say just a little improved, I say much improved. I truly believe that they won't end up 18-18 after this season, that they're going to do much better than 18-18. So where are those games going to come from? Who are they going to pick up games from? Well, the teams I think that's going to have a record that is worse than it was last year, Seattle. Seattle's not gonna. They're gonna have a worse record this coming year. Indiana, I don't see them improving. They probably stay the same. I don't know. I don't say that they're gonna be worse, but they may end up with the same record. Atlanta, even though they picked up Alicia and a few more players, but I still don't think that they're gonna win more games than they won this year. LA is going to win more games. That's, in my opinion, going to win more games. Of course, New York's going to win more games. I mean, the Aces, it doesn't make a difference. They win. They're going to still, I believe, still have a good amount of wins going. They're going to go on a win streak like the Liberty's going to go on a several game win streak. Who else is out there? Mentioned Indiana, the Sparks. Washington. Washington probably stay the same. I hate that they got Brittany Sykes. I have to admit that. Oh, Connecticut. They're not going to win as many games as they won. We're talking about a team that's perennially one of the top teams in the finals, playing in the finals, year after year, or, one game from the finals and stuff like that, they lost Jasmine and Jonquil. I know they added some pieces in there, but not only did they lose Jasmine and Jonquil, they lost their coach. Even though some people don't like his coaching style, I think was it Stephanie White that's going over there. I don't know if I'm saying it. I don't know if she's going to Indiana or Connecticut, but I know they have a new coach, and they got to pull that team together. Other thing, kind of switching gears a little bit here, and that is player, not players, but roster size. One of the things that's going on with the W, and you have so many good players out there that are basically not having an opportunity to play. And because I mean, it's 12 teams, and you have 12 slots. That's 144 players. Just real quick, let me just say about New York right now. New York, I think, have 15 players. So, you know, somebody's got to at least, I can say at least Michaela Onyenwere, she got a landing spot. But I think they have 15 players on their roster. So you got so what are they going to do with these other three players? And who are these other three players that's not going to play? Is it Dee Dee Richards? Uh, Willoughby, who somebody is not going to play. Um, so with that in mind, I'm pretty sure it's some other play. Like I know Dallas right now, they're sitting at 11, and I think they have 3 draft picks, but mainly the 2 draft picks they're gonna pick, like I say, is Diamond and Jordan. If you add that, that comes to 13. So they got one extra player, and that I'm counting Kalani Brown, and so either she's going to be shipped off or she's going to play her way onto the team, which means they either going to lose Jasmine Dickey or lose Charlie Collier. The way Jasmine Dickey played last year, I kind of want to hold on to Charlie, but but back to that. Only it's so many players play overseas, so I know a lot of players would love to play in the best league in the world, the W. Don't want to play over you, but we have so many players that don't get a chance to play here, and then of course the benefits of playing here because this is where their family is. Family get to see them play here. They not way over there, and I know a lot of those players would love to be over here. Uh, Even the players that go over there and play, they go over there and play for money. But I know they wish they can make all the money they can here in the W, versus having to go over there. But it is what it is. So what's the remedy? There's 2 ways to remedy having more players play here, and of course that's one or two things: roster size or expanding the league, adding more teams. Um, the easiest is roster size. Increase the roster size. I say increase it to 15. That matches what the NBA does. I'm not one of those opponents that say that everything that the NBA does that the W has to do. But that is one plus that I think is in the WNBA, and that is roster size is at 15. And of course, you add 15, more players, or not 15 more players. Let each team have 15 players. So what we're talking about, another 36 players because it's 12 teams. Right. So you add another 36 players to the league, 3 more to each team. uh, that would help out a lot. At least 36 more women would be able to be over here and play in the W. Um, I would love to see that happen. Um, uh, the only way right now it can be more than 44 if somebody gets hurt in a special situation, they let them bring another player on. That's a special thing. But I'm talking about roster size being let them play, let them have more people on the team and stuff like that. Make the teams fight. Make the players fight more to get on to a team. Um, would it make it easy for people to be relaxing in spot? Right now, I'm pretty sure it's really tough. But I think it would cut down the wear and tear on some players. Um, and the way it worked, this is professional basketball. It's not YMCA basketball, where I know when I coached YMCA basketball, you had to play every player. We talking about the W. You don't have to play. They can just sit on the bench. But again, if you expand it to 15, then that would help. The other way, team expansion. What is the pluses and minors of team expansion? The pluses is you would have teams, more teams in different cities. And so now, you know, you would have teams in different cities. And so more fans would get involved, more opportunity for fans to get involved. But you have to go through that process and the downfall of team expansions. I think when they first expand a league, what they do is they here's a team, here's the city it's going to be in, and they uh, I think the current teams could protect so many players. Then after that, then the expanding team was able to pull players from other teams. So now you're gonna lose somebody who's probably a valuable bench player on your team to help that other team. Um, so that's a down to that, but that's just part of the business and stuff, and it would have to happen. The one of the plus sides again is you have in other cities, but then you have to find out what cities they're going to now. I've heard so many things in the past, like Drake wanting a team in Toronto, other people wanting teams, but the buzz right now when it comes to the W, it seems like it's the place to put one is Portland. That's what everybody's saying now. But I've even heard Oakland, Nashville. In fact, like I say, I have a WNBA talk on Facebook, my Facebook group. Um, basically, um, I put a poll in there, and the question is where should they put another team? And you get so many cities that come up. Some people suggest put one back in Houston. They won 4 championships in a row. They won the first 4 WM championships. You need to have one in Houston and stuff. Somebody put one back in San Antonio, which I would love for them to put one in Houston and San Antonio. When they did have one in San Antonio, and the Wings was here. When they played in San Antonio, I drove down to San Antonio, and so I definitely, if they would have um, teams in San Antonio or teams in San Antonio or Houston, I would drive to those games. Matter of fact, last year I drove to Chicago to see the Wings play the Sky in Chicago. 2 weeks later, I drove to Washington D.C. to see the Wings play the Mystics in that back-to-back series they did. So I don't mind driving, but it would be great if they was someplace closer, because I was going to drive to Atlanta to see them play in Atlanta, and something came up. I was going to drive to LA, to see them play. So I don't mind driving, but it would be great if they had some teams closer. Even one in Memphis would be great. But I hear so many different places. I think one of the things they look for is where what cities have the most interest in women's basketball and stuff. And I think one of the things we need to put it close to where is a popular basketball team. So first team I think about is South Carolina Gamecocks, so on the one in Carolina. Then you have Notre Dame Then you have Stanford, of course. You already have a team. You have the Sparks out there in California. So Stanford's in California. Notre Dame, you have an Indiana team, but Notre Dame is 3 or 4 hours from uh, Indianapolis. So but you already have the Suns in Connecticut. Um, so a place like Memphis, I guess would be good. Or I guess you have the Kentucky team, the Tennessee team. Yeah, so Memphis would be a good place because you do have the Tennessee Vols. Uh, the women's team there is good, so that could draw. Um, yeah, but you got to get someplace where people are going to support it. If they don't support it, then hey, you don't want it to. You put a team there and no support, then it goes away. Um, so well, I'm Portland. Well, I don't know what to draw. I guess because you do have the Trailblazers there, that because people are already coming out for basketball, they come out for women's basketball. I guess that would be it. And men support the women basketball. those men who really like to see uh, good sports, good plays, stuff like that. You really understand basketball, then they're gonna come and support it and stuff. For that group of people who got to have somebody dunking all the time, okay, you're not gonna see that happen in the W all the time. Are you gonna see it more? Yeah, I think you're gonna start seeing it more because it's more players coming out of college that has the ability to dunk, that's willing to dunk. Again, it's a lot of players in the league right now that have the ability to dunk. They're just not willing to. And I think for the same reason Michael Jordan stopped dunking as much, he basically said because it kind of wears out your knees, so it shortens your career and stuff. So the women they want to play as long as they can. They don't want to their career short. Um, Men, they want to they want to be the best. They want to, when I say be the best dunker, because I always say it like this, and that basically um, a dunk is worth 2 points. A three-pointer gives me more. Shoot the three and give me more points and stuff. So when people start comparing the men and women and stuff like that, I have to remind them that Allie Quigley scored the most points in a three-point contest. Uh, I know that one young man, he scored, what was it, 27, 20, something like that. And they got so excited he hit so many. But I said, well, hold it. Last year, Ellie Quigley scored more than that. Why y'all didn't get so hyped then? But I'm not going to get back and forth and, hey, all of that. But I'm just pointing that out. Um, Expansion, I would love to see more teams. That would be exciting. Just the first initial uh, pulling from other teams is kind of one of the things that kind of a detriment, but you get over that and stuff. That happens in all sports when they expand. But again, um, uh, I just think that uh, we owe it to the women to find ways to expand it. I would start out with adding roster positions and then go from there, and then start looking at teams. I don't know if that's going to happen first. It may be the adding a team would be the first thing that they do. So with that, basically what I want to accomplish in this is kind of get you up to date to what's going on, the player movements, uh, who went where everybody at, where your team is. I just say, just go on and kind of look at your team and see the new players that's on the team and get your opinion about what you think they're gonna do. Do they make good moves? Some teams they had no choice because some players was free agency or gonna be in free agency next year, so it made the team change. Uh, but as you're in the W, understand, and in the NBA, understand your team is gonna change. Your team is gonna change, and it's gonna you're gonna lose some of your good players, and you're gonna get some good players. The deck is gonna be shuffled. I think this year has been the most changes I've seen in I don't know in how long, and it's been exciting. And all of that, I haven't said anything about the next thing that's going to happen in the W. And you know what that is? The draft. I kind of mentioned about who I thought was going to end up on the wings, and I mentioned that Leah Boston going to Indiana, and but the next thing is a draft, and after the draft, then they go into practice, and then we'll be ready to go in May. Um, I wish that they had more time to practice before they actually started playing, you know. But it is what it is. They're pro athletes and they jump into it, and some are playing year round anyway. It's just they're not playing as a team, and their particular coach don't have the whole team together to get what they need to get inside of them. But they get on the floor, and somebody's got to win the game, and somebody does win all the games. So you never end in a tie. So I like. But I wish it would. They did have more time and stuff. But we're in that situation. Maybe that's another subject I'll discuss. Is talk about why we're in the situation we're in, and that's the women having to play overseas, um, and the pay disparity between the W and the W and the Y and stuff like that. Um, but I think is exciting sport. I am a WNBA fan, and uh, and because I'm a WNBA fan, that also makes me a fan of women's college basketball because I want to make sure I know who's out there and who I want my team to pick and stuff like that. And my favorite my favorite college team, of course, is um, South Carolina Gamecocks. Um, I love that team, but I have some favorite players out there. I love Olivia Miles from Notre Dame. I just love the way she play. I love the way she play. I like Cameron Brink. Ooh, I like that. But it's a lot out there, and I love to see what's going to happen with them when they come into the league. Um, but with that, I'm going to sign off. I hope the information I shared with you is going to help you uh, understand where your favorite players went and where the players that who the players are that's coming onto your team, and that you use that information to help you navigate your way through this exciting league. It is incredible. Um, and I hope to bring some more fans on because uh, some people don't give it the value, or it already has value, but doesn't give it the due it needs to be done because those women out there playing their heart out. And I'm going to always support them and support my wings. Um, Whoever your team is, I wish you the best. And with that, I'm signing off. Jay Irving from WNBA Talk. We're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it doing what it's doing and moving toward the draft. And after that, moving toward that start day in May and have an exciting season and see what these super teams, so called super teams, are going to do. And we're going to watch my wings do what they're going to do because I guarantee they're going to be much better than they was last year. I like the coach they got, and I hope you like your team. And I hope you understand the reason why they made the decisions they made and made the moves they made the trades they made, and let the people go in free agency and all of that. But with all that, again, signing off from WNBA Talk, you have a nice evening, and I talk to you later. Peace.